let's look at establishing this double spike stitch pattern, which is the same for both the mittens and the hat. If you have a look at my version here, I've got black and blue lining up throughout my hat, and I've got pink and red lining up throughout my hat, and they sort of alternate, don't they? So what you've got here is you've got a 4-row repeat which creates this pattern all the way through the hat or the mittens. So if I look, for example, at my pink here, so the spike stitch row is 1 row, then we've got a plain row of double crochet on top of that. I then move to the black and I've got the spike stitch row and a plain row of double crochet on top of that. So we've just kind of got these two sets or these two stripes of colour with the spike stitches alternating. And I just want to give you some tips on how to keep that nice and neat and keep that lining up, because it's nice and simple and lovely stress-free TV crocheting. Right, I've attached my next colour on this piece here. This is going to be a mitten. I've obviously done the rib, and I've done 2 plain rows of double crochet to set up, and I'm ready now to start my pattern. So in my mittens, this would be row 3. I've attached my yarn, and to begin with, I'm told to do 3 double crochet. Now, just a reminder that we are working UK terminology. Okay, so because my 1 chain, which is what I've got here, does not count as my first stitch, I'm going to put my double crochet in the same place. So that's 1, that's 2, that's Noisy Motorbike, and that's 3. Now, ordinarily, our stitch repeat is 6 stitches, so we'd normally have 4 double crochet and the 2 spike stitches. Just remember that, but for now we're starting with 3. I now need to do those 2 spike stitches, and my hook's kind of sort of about lined up here. Now, when we do our spike stitches, I'm not going to put my hook through the top here. I'm working 2 rows below, and it's really easy to know where that is because it always falls at the bottom of the previous colour. So my previous colour here is blue, and my 2 stitches below, or 2 rows below, means I fall, or the hook will fall at the bottom here, and my hook will go basically at the point of that little V, so it's going to go in there. Okay, and I'm going to put my first spike stitch in there. Okay, but we're doing 2 spike stitches, so I'm going to come across to the very next stitch, which is this one here, and put another one right next door. Okay, so as I've just mentioned, our stitch repeat is 6 stitches. So now I've got to go and do my 4 regular double crochet back in the top, just as normal. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now here comes the big tip, the kind of crux of how you can get this set up nicely and neatly, and it will set you up for your whole project. Rather than worrying about counting things across the top here, look at your spike stitch that you've just made, your last spike stitch, and count from there. So I know I've got to have 4 double crochet between my little sets of spike stitch. So I've got 2 spike stitches here. I'm going to count 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, 3 and 4. Miss them out, and my hook is going to go in that next one there. Okay, so I know that's going to establish the pattern nice and neatly and evenly. 1, 2, 3, 4, and will work beautifully as long as I'm counting those 4 between and putting the spike stitches in the correct places. It's going to work out beautifully. So let me just do 1 more. 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so again, I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4 clear double crochet, and I'm going into this one here. So I'm leaving those 4 clear double crochet between the spike stitches all the way across my piece if I'm working flat for the mittens, and all the way around the piece if I'm working in the round for the hat. And that's all I'm going to do all the way across for this first of this 4-row repeat. Just pay attention to your pattern on what you do when you get to the end. You'll be told how to finish off the repeat, but I'm going to work across this. And then row 2 of my 4-row repeat is just a plain row of double crochet. So I'm going to work that, come back, and then we'll look at the next colour stripe and where those spike stitches full. Okay, so I'm now ready to do row 3 of our 4-row repeat, and I've joined in my next colour, which is black, and we know that when we're working 2 rows below, it's to the bottom of the previous row of colour, or the previous colour band, sorry, in this case the pink, so I know that my spike stitches are going to be made into this level here. Now we've got anchor points already of our spike stitches, and I'm going to work this time to the right of them to know where to put my first spike stitches, because my pattern is telling me to go straight in with 2 spike stitches 2 rows below. Now if you look between my spike stitches here, my pink spike stitches, I've got 1, 2, 3 and 4 double crochet, and in order to centre my black spike stitches nicely, I'm going to want to have them in these 2 centre double crochet here. So this one and this one, which means there's 1 double crochet will be left either side of those 2 spike stitches. So once you know that, you've got a perfect map of where they all need to go. So like I said, I'm starting straight away with my spike stitches. Don't worry about this being a little bit loose, it will tighten up. And I know that I've got to have one clear double crochet before my spike stitches, which means I've got to put 1 in here and 1 in here. Let me show you what I mean. So my hook goes into that stitch, which we're used to doing. 1 spike stitch into the next one. 2 spike stitches, and if I stop there, you'll see I've now just got 1 clear double crochet before my next 2 spike stitches, and that is exactly as it should be. So I'm going to go ahead and put 4 double crochet, because we know that our stitch repeat is 6 stitches. So I've got my 2 spike stitches and my 4 double crochet, 3 and 4, and I'm ready to do my next spike stitches. And if I look, you can see I need to keep this one free and this one free. So those 2 are where my, oops, missed it. Those 2 are where my spike stitches go. And in they go. So that really is all you're going to need, those little anchor points, and knowing that you keep 1 clear double crochet either side of them, you are now able to make the complete hat or mittens, and if providing you follow those little rules, all your spike stitches on all your forthcoming rows will line up absolutely beautifully. The last row of the 4-row repeat is just another row of double crochet, and that is all you need to know. You can see that they're starting to alternate really nicely, and they will continue as you work up to line up beautifully.